recording. And we are live. Yes, we are late, and we are hoping you guys are seeing us now. So you guys can test it out on that side to see if the gremlins have stopped messing around with us.
Yep, we're
Is it
good.
actually working? Are we good? Awesome sauce. OhMyHead.com, can't believe it, / what is going on here. All right, let's get started again, if you don't mind, guys. We'll go through a quick introduction again. This is so ridiculous. But anyway, welcome everybody to the 25 Marketing Mastermind. We are so glad that you made it. And this is our second attempt because we had a bit of problem in the beginning. And this is nothing new to the online industry. We always have these problems. And so please forgive us for being 15 minutes late to actually get going. So I want to first of all go through everybody on the panel, and then I'll get stuck into the actual meat and potatoes of what we're going to be talking about today. Pops, how are you doing, sir? I said you were looking like a woolly mammoth with the beard growing. How are things going for you?
I'm feeling lazy. I don't want to shave anymore. So we finally got L Day coming up tomorrow. That would be leave day. We'll be on the road tomorrow about 9 o'clock or so, and we're heading down to Illinois to go with Jamie and Verdi's. We're going to hang out there for a while, and I have to come back up, though, because my license plates aren't in, and I only have a temporary permit, so I got to be back here on the 19th, but whatever.
And they can't really post it to you, and number plate doesn't fit an email well, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's awesome. Anything. I was saying earlier that I'm really, really happy for you guys and jealous in a good way that you guys are having your adventures. I really wish you everything of the best.
Appreciate that. I would be jealous in a good way too. Actually, I have been jealous in a good way for a long time. So.
No, we're because this is ultimately what the lifestyle affords us to do. Because you guys can actually go out and live a life on the road and just experience whatever it is you love, because you guys love traveling. You guys love interacting with people, and that's really what this business is all about. And we'll get into that a bit later. But with that being said, we'll go to Mr. Jamie Shaw, who I absolutely love saying that name, by the way, Jamie Shaw. Do you know that there's a famous guy in England named Roy Shaw? And I was wondering if there was a connection.
Well, I have some family and relatives in England, but most of my family come from Scotland. So I don't know what the lineage is, but my direct line comes from Scotland. So my son my son made a trip over there when he was in England and got our kilt design and all kinds of stuff that has our last name and stuff on it. So
awesome. So you got Scottish descent there?
Oh yeah.
Well, at least it's not really Irish. I always say that the Irish speak like they're talking at an angle. That's how I describe the accent. It's kind of weird. But I love the Irish. I got a very good Irish friend. For the life of me, it slipped my mind. The name just went.
Oh, my name's Katie.
Flew out my mind. And if you knew. Oh, are you? Okay, there we go. Sure. Big save there. So, Katie, how are you doing? Are you excited? You must be jumping up and down for this trip tomorrow.
Yeah, you can see that I am. It's just awkwardly.
Are you going to be the one leaning
in
up
a chair,
across your shoulder, saying, "Are we there yet?
I literally have this much room now in my little temporary office in the garage. So this is me jumping up and down, so I don't knock over my dad's grandma's lamp that we're taking with. So it's a very precious lamp. Okay. So, and of course, these guys are going to come with me, and then of course. Other things that are around me that I can't really move too much, but yeah, I'm excited. This is good. It's going to be an interesting adventure.
So have you moved anything in already? Because it sounds like nothing's been moved in.
Are you saying we're procrastinators? Because we are. No, we got everything in, except for, you know, just a few odds and ends that we kind of need for like overnight, and then
Okay.
we're gonna leave after traffic tomorrow,
Okay.
so about 10 o'clock.
Like toothbrushes and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's. And deodorant.
All the essentials and stuff. Like
I dusted off
and
my
deodorant,
deodorant and packed it away. Just kidding.
and boxing gloves and all the essentials. Okay. All right. Awesome. So for those of you who do know, and for those of you who don't know, we are covering the topic about how to start your business from scratch. And we're going to be covering the subject of your why. Now, before anybody decides to click off and say something like, I've already heard this before, I understand what my why is going to be, I can almost guarantee you that you're not going to hear it the same way that you've heard it before. And there is a reason why we need to hear things over and over again, is because, do you know how many times I've heard something when somebody tells me something about consistency, for instance, and then one day I read the slightest thing in a book and it suddenly makes a lot more sense. Because ultimately, I feel, and that's important to the subject, ultimately I feel that if you understand your why a little better, it's going to help you get you started with your business online. And so I have some questions I would like the panel to answer, and perhaps everybody who is watching online could answer the same questions, perhaps, if it lends in your particular direction. So I'm going to go through each and every one of you, and I want to ask you this one question. And I want to ask Pops first. I want to ask him, Pops, why? And remember, there's no right or wrong way to answer this question. It's not a trick question. It's a question to get some perspective, I think. So the question is, why did you start your business?
Well, years ago, I actually started MLM and failed miserably, so I gave that up mostly to get a good job and have benefits, because I had family coming. And then I fell into that mode and just kept on going there. I got into the post office, and you know, that's really a good job. And then as I got closer to retirement, I was looking at it again, because I really enjoyed the MLM part, other than the home business meetings and all that stuff. But it's mostly because I really enjoy talking to people, and I know there's people out there that actually, I don't want people to have to go through the crap I went through when I was working for somebody else. Basically, to keep it simple, the job sucked. I didn't like it. I didn't like half the supervisors. I didn't like half my coworkers, because they're always whining and bitching, but they're not willing to do anything about it. So that's pretty much why. And then when I did retire, I started doing some businesses that were like construction stuff. I had my own company doing some construction and building maintenance and such, and then a part-time job I kept with. And they all sucked. I just didn't like it. So I decided to get back into internet marketing. Well, it was not internet marketing back when I was into that, but I found it to be much easier, and I can have a bigger reach. So pretty much to be able to connect with people, and I know, of course, there's money involved. You're going to make money if you connect with the right people and give them what they want and what they need, and it's all good. The more people you can connect with and help out, then you're going to get helped out and you're going to benefit. So that's why.
I love that answer, and it's so straightforward. I love the way you had to reset your thinking, because you had to be more direct about that. But that is a really lovely, brutal answer. Basically, you didn't want everybody to go through the crap that you went through, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And thank you for that. I'm going to go and ask Jamie the same question. Just give me your gut answer, Jamie. Why did you start a business online?
I started a business online because I wanted to make some extra cash, and I found so much more than just extra money. I found a community of people that care about each other, and the most important thing I found was myself. I found who I was in the transition to going from, working a job to being an entrepreneur. I found myself, but I started it to make some extra cash. I stayed because of the people.
Nice. And this is what it's about. It's just being brutally honest. And I see that Maria has said, I want freedom. Let's see what anybody else has got to say. If the question is, why do you want to start a business online? That's the actual question. And I will not be asking Katie because she's disappeared for some reason. It seems like we have a blank head.
I think you scared her away with the question.
I think we scared her away with a question. Okay, she's going, no, what happened?
She froze up. She's had to reboot. She'll be back shortly.
Okay. We will go over to the next question, or yes, or maybe we should. I'm just wondering if we should go to the next question. Yes, let's go to the next question. So this next question, I will direct it to Jamie. And as I said, these are specific questions, and if you can answer them in a general or a broader way, that's fine. But Jamie, I want to ask you this question. And as I said, no wrong or right answer, because a lot of people do battle with this. So the question is, why do you love your wife?
Why do I love my wife? Why? Because she's my other half. She's my reason for getting up in the morning. She's the reason I get up out of bed. We kind of had a rough start, in our marriage, and life happened because we had a blended family. I had 4 kids, she had 2 kids, and then we had a kid together, so we had 7 total. And so we had a big family, and stepchildren, when they first get blended together, they like to fight with each other, but they all grew up, and all get along really well now. But the reason I love her so much is because, she completes me. She's everything to me, and I'm everything to her, and we've been through some rocky times. She lost her mom in 2009, and and I was all she had, and I'm all she has today, and so we take care of each other. And the biggest thing that I can say to anybody about your relationship is communication is the key. If you can't talk to your other half, then you're going to fail in your marriage.
That's interesting, and I love the way that you answered that in the framing of it, because you framed it in a way that I think is very key to the question about why. But we'll get back to that a bit later. But my next question is to Pops, a little bit more. So here's the question, Pops. The question is, why do you love smoking cigars?
Wow. I don't know. Actually, it became a habit, and I was able to give it up, but I kept thinking about it, and I just like it. I guess part of it is actually persona. I guess I like the way I look with a cigar hanging in my stupid mouth. I don't know why. Really, honest to God, I really don't have a really good answer for that. And sometimes I actually don't like a cigar when I'm having it, but as the habits go and addictions go, I still smoke the dang thing. But and I'll give up again pretty soon. But I go in spurts. I like them I don't know. I just like them.
That's another way. That's a very interesting answer to that question. And tell me something. Is Katie there? Can I chat to Katie? Like, is she like around the corner or something?
Yep, you can talk to her right now.
So, Katie, I want to ask you this question, and the question is, why do you love your pop so much?
How can you talk to me?
Can you? Oh, you hold on a second.
I can hear you. Everybody can hear you. Oh, because of the earphones.
I may have to join you on your side.
All right, try it now, Dave.
Hey, Katie, can you hear?
Can you say
Can you
something?
hear?
See if I can hear you through my speakers.
Can you hear? Can you hear? I don't. All right. Is Katie still having trouble getting online? We can wait for Katie to get online.
Yeah, I got to get it straightened out.
No, there we
I'll
go.
get my speakers straightened out.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey guys, this is all about the hangout. We don't have the best. Hey, Katie, you there? We can see you.
I can see you too.
Cool. So the question is, why do you love your pop so much? Why do you love your dad?
Wait.
Is it all because he's looking at you?
Can you ask that again? You sounded like a robot. I may have to just get off.
Are you kidding? All right. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I think there's a delay. This thing is like being
Okay.
goofy.
Okay, Katie, we'll move on. Just okay. We'll move on because
Sorry.
otherwise it's just a. Okay, no problem. No problem. Anyway, the reason I ask these questions is because at the end of the day, it's really hard to define stuff like that. I think people have a hard time communicating with the reasons why they like something or why they love something. Jamie, can you answer this question for me if I just ask you this at random? So here's a question. Can you describe a gut feeling?
I was in the chat, Dave. Say it again.
Okay, so the question is, can you describe a gut feeling?
Gut feeling, it's when I look at my wife every day, I get knots in my stomach, and I feel all queasy inside and head over heels, and when she touches me, it just happens all over again. So.
Well, so is a gut feeling, like also there are so many instances that people have this gut feeling, but they can't really, for some reason, put it into a tangible sentence that somebody can understand, because a gut feeling is something that you can't really describe.
Right.
It's just something you have. And so this brings me to my next point, and the point is this, that in our brains, we have something called the neocortex, which is really responsible for our rational thought, for our language, for our analytical thoughts. And then we have the limbic part of the brain, the right and left, which are responsible for the why and how. All right, the feelings part of our brain, where language doesn't sit. Language doesn't compute in the feelings part of the brain. That's why we have things like gut feelings. That's why if you ask somebody why they love chocolate, why they love candy, why they love, they might say, well, it tastes amazing. But to somebody who's never had chocolate, how do you describe it? It's really great. It makes me feel amazing. Things that involve feelings, it's very hard to put into words. And this is because this addresses the part of the brain that really is about the feeling side of it, the how and the why, the how part of our life. And so why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because in a world where people have a lot of businesses and a lot of things that they're trying to do, the reason why a lot of businesses don't succeed is because they have everything backwards. Everybody in this world will, for instance, concentrate on the what as opposed to the why. So I'll give you a really good example. So Jamie, what happens when you walk into an interview? What's the first question you ask them? If you're interviewing somebody and they're applying for a job, or you're applying for a job, what's typically the question somebody asks you?
First question is usually, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, tell me a bit about yourself. What is it that you can do? What are your skills? What is your background? all of the what's, right? And
Right.
and then they're slowly getting into your experience, and then maybe at the end of the interview, they might say, "Why do you want to join us?" Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah. They'll ask you,
Those.
what can you do for our company? Is what a lot of the question is.
That's right. So what can you bring to the table? What
Right.
is it that makes you so special that we're going to use? Everything is what, and this happens all over the place. It happens all over the place because at the end of the day, we are for some reason programmed to deal with our what first than we are to deal with our why. That's why whenever we have a gut feeling, we just know because we know that we know. How do you know? I just know. Okay, we because the moment we cannot describe it, we immediately try to fill it up with words. That's why, and I'm just saying, it's like if you asked somebody, why is it that you love your husband, or why is it that you love your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your partner? They're really loyal. I love them. They are. They have my best interests at heart. They do all of this stuff. You're almost describing what could be a golden retriever. The point is that it goes along the spectrum where you can apply it anywhere, because at the end of the day, attraction isn't something you can put into words. At the end of the day, your why is something you can't really describe. It's because we have this part of our lives that is so that's the limbic part of your brain, the why. And so I want to suggest something, and I want to talk to you guys about an example, 2 examples that I can think of, and maybe you guys can think of examples as well, and you can think about in this respect, a failing business model as opposed to a really good business model. And the failing business model I want to talk about is, you guys know what TiVo is, right? You know what TiVo is. When TiVo first came out, it's a great idea. It's a great concept. There's plenty of features. You can do great things with it. It really is a good concept. It had enough money. It had all the engineers. It had everything you needed to run a company great. TiVo was great, but it failed. It failed in the sense that it didn't produce a lot of profit. And the reason it failed is because the entire company was focused on the what it can provide for you, what it can do for you. It can pause programs. It can record. It can record the programs that you have that you really like. And so this idea scares people, because at the end of the day, people do not buy because of what you do or what you can provide. People buy because of how you do what you do, the reasons you do why you do it. They buy because of your belief system. Now, I'll give you another example of something that's tremendous, something that's amazing. And I'm sure you guys will recall the famous talk, Dr. Martin Luther King, right? Before internet, before emails, there were 250,000 people that appeared in Washington. And he filled that arena. Why? Well, he did it not because of a strategy, not because of a what. He didn't say, I have a plan, right? He actually made his talk about, I have a dream. I believe. He had a reason. He spoke to people about what he believed. And here's the main fundamental difference in business today between the people that don't succeed and the people that do, is that the people that do succeed, or the people that really go in big strides, the companies like Apple, the companies like Virgin, the companies like Google, the companies that are inspirational, they do everything the other way around. They don't talk about the whats, they talk about the whys. So look at Apple. Apple has a very simple philosophy, right? Their philosophy is this. They say, we believe in innovative thinking. We believe in challenging the status quo. How do we do this? We do this by having simple computers that you can use that look beautiful. Want to buy one? They do everything the other way around. So here's why Apple does so well, because they have a why, and people buy into that why. This is what actually happens. Why do you think so many people in their business talk about life strategies? They talk about how to get their life correct. They talk about challenges and strengths and the failures and how to get things right, because they want people to understand that they can achieve anything they want. They want people to understand. You know, I asked this question about why do you want to start a business, right? And when I initially wanted to start a business, just like Jamie said, it's because I want to make money. But that's not a why. That's a result. Okay, at the end of the day, I want to get a result of making some money. But the reason I want to start a business is because I never want anybody else. I never want to feel dependent on anybody else again. I never want to feel that I am alone. I never want to feel that I battle, or that I've got to rely on somebody else to get me to the next step. I want people to understand that about my business. I want people to know that I will help them no matter what. You know, you look at Katie and her business model, it really is about not leaving anyone behind. So many people can relate to that. Now, here's the interesting thing about having a good why. Apple, and I might upset some people here, so Robert, just hear me out. Okay. Everybody understands that Apple, everybody that owns an Apple loves Apple. They just love it. If you're walking in an airport and you see somebody with an Apple laptop, you know, kind of go, how you doing? You know, nobody puts a sticker on top of the Apple logo because they want everybody to know they own Apple. Nobody does, because they love the product. But here's the reality about Apple, right? It's not that great technology-wise. It's sometimes double more expensive than other PCs. They don't have the variabilities of other PCs, and I know this because I've worked on both. They have limitations, and I know that PCs are way more faster. I know this for a fact because I've worked in the industry. But for some reason, people that own Apples foam at the mouth if you say anything bad against it. Why? Because you're attacking their belief system. You're attacking their identity. And if I just had a look, before I got on this hangout, I was taking a look at Steve Jobs introducing the iPhone. It was so amazing because he almost said nothing about technology in that entire presentation. He spoke about the simplicity of life and how you can incorporate a phone and an iPod together to make a phone. He was talking about making life easier, you know, making it simple, not having the heartache, because they have the great innovations. This is what Apple does. People who have Harley Davidsons, and I was talking to Jamie about this, right? Sometimes have the logo tattooed on their arm. It's a corporation. It's a corporation. That's all. It's just a corporation. There's nothing, you know. And how expensive are Harley Davidsons, Jamie?
Mine was $19,900, and I paid $17,500 for it.
They're expensive, and they're expensive here. Harley Davidson clubs, they're very expensive because it's a lifestyle. I mean, hell, people buy a Porsche, right? People buy a Porsche or what do you want to call it? Some people even buy the jackets without even owning the car. Why? Because they want to identify with that lifestyle. They want to identify with the freedom of being involved with Porsche. Now, I want to make a huge suggestion for you in your business. If you can come up with a reason why you want to start a business, why you want to get your business going, why does you get up in the morning? Yeah, there we go. There's a picture, Jamie. Awesome. You better speak, Jamie. Nobody can see it.
Oh, that was a picture of my Harley Davidson.
That's an awesome machine, an awesome machine.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So I want to ask you, how much of your business is focused on the what, and how much of your business is focused on your why? How much are you really talking about the what of your business? How to do this, how to do that, how to do this, how to do that? How often do you really talk about your beliefs? How often do you talk about your principles? How often do you talk about your morals? How often do you talk about your belief system inside of your business? Because at the end of the day, if you don't know why you're doing your business, you're not going to have enough energy and steam to carry on. Because the difference is this, is that entrepreneurs at the end of the day, and I wrote this down here, I'm just trying to find it. An entrepreneur sees what they want and they stop at nothing to get it. Because they have a why. They have an actual reason, and nothing stops them. Non-entrepreneurs see all the obstacles that are thrown at them, and they focus on those things, and that's why they can't get a move on. And ultimately, it's because they do not have a solid why. I hope this makes sense. Does anybody here on the panel want to speak to that, or maybe something resonated with them and I want to say something? Go ahead.
I actually, sorry, Pops, was just thinking, now that I can hear what you guys are talking about your whys and stuff, so hopefully I'm not far off on subject here, but I was just thinking about when I first started in this industry, I thought the reason why I started was my why. That is a broke mindset, because we all get in this industry for what reason? For the money. If that's your why, and if it stays there, that's a broke mindset. So it actually turns into something much bigger than yourself. That's when your real why shows up, and you get all these aha moments, these breakthrough moments, and all the rough edges. I love how Jamie says that the rough edges starts chipping away, and you just like become more free, and it's just amazing. So.
Yeah, I call them.
Jamie, I love what you wrote there. Sorry,
sorry,
Pops.
go ahead.
Sorry, Pops. No, it's fine. It's fine. I was just going to say, I love the way that Jamie says it's nothing like the wind in your hair cruising down the highway. The best kind of freedom that you can feel, describing a Harley Davidson. There is absolutely nothing in there but a vehicle. But he's describing the feeling, the why, the absolute community of the Harley Davidson Club inside of that whole expression. And that's why people buy the motorcycle. They start off with their why first, and then they concentrate on the what. They don't do it the other way around. If you want to have a really good interview with somebody, sorry, Pops, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you want to really have a really good interview with somebody and you want to get somebody perfect for your company, start off with the why. You know, why do you want to be here? Because I'll tell you why we want you, or this is why we are in the field. And if that lines up with them, you'll have somebody that will remain with you forever. I used to work for a company years ago, and there was a lady there that had tremendous relationships with the people in the office. And the company was tanking. The company was tanking. Hardly anybody left. Hardly anybody left. And the reason is because this entrepreneur, and she is an entrepreneur, amazing woman, just doesn't stop. And she came from Zimbabwe. She lived there, Rhodesia when it was called, and she worked her way to the top. But she understood why she wanted to get in business, and she wanted to work with people that wanted to strive towards her own principles and values. So whenever you had an interview with her, she spoke about the reason that they are there and if it lines up with them. She was hardly concerned about their qualifications, because you can be qualified up the wazoo and still just be there for a paycheck. Sorry, Pops. Do you want to carry on? Sorry about that.
No, not at all. That was great to hear that. Yeah, my why was, well, I rode motorcycle as well, and I really loved riding motorcycle. I gave it up now, but and it was just I couldn't wait to get on my bike, and that's like I can't wait to, see people that I care for, and I can't wait to connect with my friends and such. It's just a great thing to do. So yeah, the wise things, you kind of lose sleep over things that you really care for and what you really want to do. I lost a lot of sleep over just getting ready to go somewhere the next day, and I need to get rest, but I'm so excited about it that I have a hard time sleeping, and that's an interesting feeling, and still not being tired the next day. I feel kind of tired in the morning, but it doesn't take long to wake up and get going because of the excitement. So the adrenaline starts flowing, and you just keep marching on. That's awesome.
Anybody else want to say something?
Yeah, I will a little bit, and what I said there in the chat, Dave, I know you liked it, Harley Davidson's motto is live to ride, ride to live, and when I'm on that bike and cruising down the road, you got the wind in your face, the sun in your face, there's no other feeling like it. It's a true feeling of freedom. And if you've never experienced, Pop said he rode motorcycles, he's experienced, if you've never experienced that, you don't know what I'm talking about. And, and that's why we come into home business, to experience that same type of true freedom, to have that feeling. And that's what it is. It's a feeling. And that's what being around people that help us grow into the people we want to be, that's the feeling we get, the true feeling of freedom. I bring up a lot of stuff in our workshop that brings out, what I believe and how I feel about things, because that's my goal, is to achieve the freedom that I want. So, and I want to set my partners in the workshop free too. So that's why I give them so much information. So.
Yeah, I didn't have brand loyalty to Harley Davidson. I rode a couple, but I rode a motorcycle for a living for my part-time job, and it was Hondas. So I decided to buy a Honda because they were infallible, oil changes and brake jobs, and that was about it. They just keep on running. Now the newer Harleys are much better. They built them a lot better now. That AMC had them for a while and they were crap, and I went back to Harley and now they're good. But I still won't ride anymore. I'm done with that.
Yeah. I started on dirt bikes, and the first road bike I ever had was an old Kawasaki H1. Remember them?
Yep.
And then I bought that Harley in 2015. It was a brand new. It had 1 mile on it when I bought it, so it's brand spanking new. And
nice.
It's 2 years old, and it's only got 2,700 miles on it. So.
Cool.
It is amazing how many brands out there will talk about a feeling first before they talk about the what. And the what sometimes isn't even good for you. I can think of one right now, Coca-Cola, right? They always talking about a feeling, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola is it. There's always, it's the thirst quencher. It makes you feel great. But have you looked at what's inside Coke? It's like it's not the most healthy thing in the world for you, yet people still buy it. And some of the best, this isn't something new, guys. Talk about cigarettes. Back when they used to advertise cigarettes on TV and all of that stuff, What's interesting, there was a Peter Stuyvesant commercial that we used to have for cigarettes. Not one person on that commercial was smoking a cigarette. They were just talking about a lifestyle. There wasn't a single person lining up a smoke. And this is why I'm trying to say to you that if you go into your business model with the why first, the what follows easier, because now that you have your why, there are some things that you need to qualify to get that why. And this is how it goes, right? You need to know you need to know your why and why you want to do it. That's number one. Number two, you need to have the discipline of how. The discipline of how, that's number two, all right? And what I mean by the discipline of how, I'm talking about when you are doing something and how you do it because you have certain principles. You do it because you have certain values. Whenever you are talking about how you are actually getting something done, you are always mixing it in with your belief system, right? And that's number two. Number three is you have the consistency of what? You have the consistency of what? So what you are doing, you are being consistent with, but you can only get that if you have the discipline of how, and you can only get that if you know why you want to do something. And if those three are all lining up, that's when you build trust with your audience. You know, if you just think about this, trust doesn't always mean just because you're going to keep a promise that you've committed trust. Just because somebody keeps a promise doesn't mean to say that you've got trust with somebody. It really is about a whole belief system. We all have families who we trust, but they've let us down countless times. You know, some more than others, but you get my point. If you can get those three things worked out in your business, you will develop trust with your customer. So find out what your why is. Have the discipline of how, and have the consistency of what. And if those three line up, you will develop trust with your customers. Just think about all the different, go ahead and watch Steve Jobs introducing the iPhone to the audience, and you'll see what I mean about the technology. You know what's interesting about all of those things? Have you seen Steve Jobs trying to get a presentation done, and most of the time it never works out because they've got so many hassles with the Wi-Fi and the technology doesn't work so well. And even though he's having a difficult time with the technology, people still love buying iPhone stuff. They still like buying the Apple products because Apple presents the why. Does that make sense to everybody watching? Can you see this actually working out in your business and how you can apply it? And hopefully people who are watching this make sense. I hope it isn't clearer than mud right now.
Actually, I'm reminiscing back on the transition that I made and the struggles that I've had. I started my business in 2013, and like I said earlier, the reason that I was told by my mentors, the people that I followed, that you have to find your why. And if your why doesn't make you cry, then you've got to keep searching. So I was struggling with it because like, what is my why? What is my why? Because I kept thinking that money was my why. I'm like, well, because I want money, but then that didn't help because I was just spamming everybody. And I was just like, okay, it's all about money, but it's not. So I feel that I had to go through this, I don't know, something like these breakthroughs that I had to learn. And you know what I mean? It's like when I started focusing on other people is where I found my why. I found my community. I found Dave. I found Jamie. I found, all the people, Maria. I found the Coles, Barb and Tim. I found everybody. They just started coming in. And then the why, I actually completely forgot about it for like a year and a half. My why. Completely forgot about it. It wasn't until like I started to build this business model around what Dave says, where I don't want to leave anybody behind. I was actually on a hangout as a guest, as a rising star with this company with like over 1,000 affiliates watching is actually, I've never watched the replay, but I would love to go watch, because that's when my why came alive, because I started preaching about this new hashtag I made up where I don't leave any affiliates behind. And that's where it started. I'm like, hell yeah, that's what I am. That's what I'm for, because I was left behind, because that was my story. I felt like I was left behind. Now, I don't want to say that nobody left me behind, because I'm the one who held myself back, and I felt like I was left alone on an island and nobody was helping me. Like I expected this knight in shining armor to come help me, right? So that's when it formed. It's like it took me a while to get to that point. So I know that everybody who's watching here, who's kind of trying to figure out, why are they here? Why are they doing this? Why haven't I made any sales? Why haven't I made, or gotten any leads? Which I know there's a lot of people in the comments right now. They have had some sort of success where they have had their first lead or their first sale, but they want more, right? You get to that point where you want more. But I know that if you just keep going, keep pushing through, and keep that on the back burner or the front burner, depending on, where you're at. If you really want to find your why, you can sit down and just try to figure it out. But I think everybody has to go through that transition. Now, the timeline is different for everybody. So I hope that helps. Is that clear as mud?
It does make sense, Katie. And what I also want to say is, and here's an interesting one, and I'd like to use your kind of why as an example, because yours is about not leaving people behind. And what's interesting about Katie's stuff is that if you watch her online, you always get the sense that she wants you to catch up. She wants you to be filled in. And this is what I mean about knowing being consistent with your what, and being disciplined in your how, and knowing why you want to start a business. You see, if you are, for instance, giving people instructions, or you're telling people how to do something, it's always peppered with the idea of your own why. There is a company in America called Yes. Very, very powerful brand. The guy that owns it was actually, he was on a reality show where it was called Undercover Boss, right? And Undercover Boss, he went undercover as somebody who was training in his own company. And he sits down next to this person answering phones. And the whole reason for that company, the why it started is he never wanted to say no to anybody. He always wanted somebody to find an answer, to say, yes, we can help. And he's talking to this trainer who's helping him, the CEO, and she sits down with him, and you can go and find it. It's quite interesting. And about 20 minutes into the actual phone call, he stops everything. He says, I'm sorry, this can't carry on anymore. And he says, this isn't your fault. This is just because you weren't trained correctly. And he had a meeting with the manager right then and there, and he revealed who he was, because he couldn't stand the way that they were talking about his company. Every time somebody brought up an obstacle, this person would say, I'm sorry, we don't do that. I'm sorry, we can't help. Or I'm sorry, you have to go somewhere else. And he was appalled, because his why, and the reason he did everything in the company, was because he wanted to answer somebody with a yes. Like if they don't have milk, they say, do you have any milk? In the hotel room, somebody has to say, yes, we will find it for you. So they go and they get it, even if it means they have to go somewhere else, because that's how he drove his business. And if you guys are starting up a business and you're selling products, you could be doing yoga. You could be, okay, let's say yoga. You're teaching yoga in your business, and now you've got instructional videos and free training videos. But the reason you started yoga is because you gained a lot of baby fat when you gave birth. I'm speaking like I'm a woman, but I'm just giving it as an example. And now you started this, and this drives you in your yoga classes. You're always talking about it. You're always mentioning it. It's part of who you are. It's like if somebody wants to start a computer company, right? Anybody can start up a computer company, but maybe you started up a computer company because nobody wanted to teach you anything and you felt so isolated. So you decided to teach yourself, and now you want other people to know that they can rely on you. There's a motivational reason behind a business who is successful. All right, so, and you can think of so many examples about how people have risen to the top unexpectedly, right? Unexpectedly go above everyone else and win by a long shot. And it's only because they focus on the why. The only reason they succeed is because they focus on their belief and they communicate it well. That's why they do so well. And it recently happened. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in America right now with the recent politics and everything. The rising of somebody who's doing very well. Why? Because he has a belief system. May not agree with him, but that's exactly what he does. He does it because he understands that people need a why. People need a reason to believe. And then right at the end, it was the end of his campaign, he concentrated on the what. On the what, right at the end. It was the why first and the what. So if you are running a company and you want to do well, concentrate on your why first before you concentrate on your what. Because people want to follow people who believe. They want to follow people who have a reason. People follow leaders who have inspiration for them. That's why so many people love Apple. You can't say anything bad about Apple to somebody who's an Apple supporter. It's like if I ask the question to a hardcore Apple supporter, do you have an antivirus on your machine? They'll say, what are you talking about? I don't need one. Even though we know that every computer needs an antivirus, most hardcore Apple users will say, I'm sorry, I don't need one. The PC users, on the other hand, who go into Apple, they still use antiviruses because they understand PCs. But a hardcore Apple user doesn't even think about an antivirus because they've got so much security inside of Apple. That's how much they believe in it. So I don't know. Maybe somebody else wants to say something. Pops, Jamie.
I never tried Apple, and I agree with you there. I have talked to people who have said that they don't need to have antivirus or any kind of protection because it's a standalone and they don't have all the apps and the add-ons and all that such. But actually they do. But again, the hardcore people don't realize that it's not coming from a third party necessarily, or they're not believing it, as you say. But yeah, going with what you're feeling and what your heart is, your why will come, like Dave said, later. You concentrate a lot on that, then you're going to get more emotionally attached. And in my opinion, you can't really concentrate on your business when you're using your emotions. You have to be able to make good decisions based on what, on all kinds of different whats. And so you got to set the whys apart and aside, and again, they're there anyway, and your subconscious knows it, and in your heart you know it, so you really don't have to concentrate on the why, just concentrate on the what. And that's what successful business people do. They find their goals and they go for it, and they learn what they need to learn in order to get to that goal, whether it be how to sell or how to communicate, how to use NLP, for instance. That's a real thing, and there is no harm because people can't be persuaded. There's a lot of nasty talk about NLP, but people can't be persuaded to do things that they really don't want to do. Even in hypnosis, if people have a hardcore feeling about something that they don't want to do, they won't do it even under hypnosis. So do the what, learn how to do your business and learn how to become a business person, and you'll be far and away ahead of the game by far.
Robert was saying that he has an antivirus on his Mac, and yes, he does have an antivirus on his Mac because he is an exception to the rule. I applaud you, Robert. That's amazing, and that's great. But that's true. Robert is an exception to the rule. He does think outside of the box, and he's not really concerned about looking pretty. He's concerned about things that actually work, and that's very true. But I wanted to get back to my main point. Your why is what drives your business, right? Your why is what drives your business. Your what comes naturally after that. You cannot have it the other way around. If you have it the other way around, what's going to happen is you're going to be exhausted. 90% of people that go to work, this is a true fact, 90% of people that go to work are unfulfilled. They know what to do. Everybody knows what to do, but they are unfulfilled. Why do you think there is such a need for people wanting to start their own business online? Because they want to do things that they actually enjoy. That brings them fulfillment. That brings them a sense of meaning. Why do I get up every morning? Why do I keep on coming back to this online work? What drives me? Because let's be honest, right? Sometimes it can be a little daunting. It can be a little mundane. And I got a Joe contacted me today and says, "Hey Dave, just made another sale." And that just makes me feel amazing and that just gave me so much energy. And I was like, "Joe, that's amazing." And that's what drives me, to know that Joe can actually rely on a business. Because that's what keeps me going. It isn't about the sales really, because Joe isn't even connected to me at all. I'm not getting any from Joe. I'm not connected with Jamie financially at all in our team, but we work well together because we want people to succeed, and we have this culture, this community of people that want to help people. And maybe you're watching this right now, and you're kind of you're not fulfilled in your job. Maybe you don't have everything you want. You go to the same job every single day. You have a boss that's always complaining. He never really compliments you. He never really encourages you. All he does is show up your flaws. You don't feel like you're actually getting anything done. You don't feel like you're contributing to any cause of any sort. And you want to be able to start your own business. You want to be fulfilled. If anything, that's the thing you need most. So what's holding you back? What's keeping you? And I think it's because you don't understand the reason for why you want to actually start a business online. Think about why. Because I'll tell you, when we understand our why, we can do just about anything. We can overcome obstacles like you won't believe. I can tell you stories that will make your eyes pop out because of my sheer belief system in what I know that I can do, even though I've never done it before. Anyway, I know we've gone over time, but I think that's due to the fact that we started a bit later today and we've got 4 minutes to go. Does anybody here want to add something or say something?
I do wanted to say real quick is that I did hear in the very beginning something about interview questions that did start my anxiety about 31 jobs that I had in 17 years. I know exactly what questions they ask, and I'd rather not relive any of that. So that's another part of my why, is that it definitely beats the alternative. I'd rather be here than die at some 9 to 5. So
I agree with that. Dave said something about yoga, and I tried yoga once and pulled a muscle. No more.
I loved my Bikram yoga. I did it for 3 years. It was awesome.
Oh my goodness. I tried yoga once. I nearly fainted. Simply take your right foot and place it on the small of your back.
Oh, stop it.
And relax.
Oh, stop it.
And relax.
Okay, I had
Yeah.
arthritis in my
Good
knees,
color.
and I had some carpal tunnel issues, and it created like some good flow where it actually got rid of it. So,
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, all right. If you really want to relax, you should say, go get your favorite pillow, curl up on the couch, watch your favorite movie, and relax. That's relaxing. Sorry. Anyway, Pops, you want to say something?
Well, Katie wanted me to try yoga for a while too, and that about tied me up in a knot, and it hurt. And oh my God, it was crazy. So, no, you can't bend it. You got to keep your knees straight and bend at the waist. Well, I just don't bend that way anymore. Give me a break. I don't know if I ever will.
My knee only bends one way. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I was saying before, my Y kept me at the post office because my Y, of course, was my family and my kids, and I needed the income and the security of you know, healthcare and all that stuff. And I understand a lot of people don't have that, regardless, especially in today's market. But that's the only reason I was able to. That's the only reason I was able to tolerate it until they offered an early out. And my kids were older, and I took it as soon as I could leave there. I did. So I actually retired early, and other people couldn't believe it. How are you going to be able to support yourself? Well, I knew how I was going to support myself. Of course, they didn't want to hear it because they're locked in. They don't want to have to. Sometimes people don't want to think about how to become free because they just have an unbelievable. I don't know. They just can't fathom it. So they have to be looking for it in order to believe it. And they are out there looking. There are people out looking, and the more you put yourself out there, of course, the sooner they're going to find you, and you can help them out, and it's all good. So definitely the why is important, and learn how to do it. Learn how to communicate with people, and boy, there's no limit to it then.
Yeah, it's definitely a far better atmosphere. I actually don't think about it anymore, in the sense of I look forward to Mondays in the sense that, okay, cool, Mondays. So I think in the sense of, oh, it's okay for me to go shopping on a Monday or Tuesday because nobody's really at the store because they're all at work. That's the type of life that I can live now. The fact that I don't have to work for somebody. If I need to go shopping, I can go on the week because and I don't go on the weekend. And the reason I don't go on the weekend is everybody's shopping. And it's only because I started off a long time ago with a why. I started off with the fact that I absolutely did not want to be in that position of relying on somebody else. You know, I went to a party and I held on to a drink. I was going to plan on holding on to a drink for 4 hours because I couldn't afford to buy something to eat. And I think I had enough for a Coke. And I was going to hold this Coke for 4 hours and sipping it like wine. Because I didn't want to stand there with nothing in my hand. So that was my plan until a friend came up to me who knew my situation, and very kindly, he was a big dude. He just put out his hand to shake my hand and pulled me a bit closer. And I'll never forget the jerk he gave me. It was and he gave me some money so that I wouldn't feel left out. And it was at that moment that I felt it was such a rush of shame, humiliation. I felt pitied. I felt like I couldn't hold myself up. And it was a very kind thing of him to do. And probably the best thing he ever did for me, because I will never forget that moment. And it carries with me to this day. When I think about I never want to feel that again. And what's interesting, I don't know who the guy is. What's that guy, that Canadian guy who wants to become Prime Minister? What's his name? They call
I didn't know Canada had prime ministers. I'm just kidding.
Many would know. Mr. What's his name? Come on, Minnie. What's his name?
There's a delay, and
Anyway,
his name is Guy McFace.
Oh, you're so funny. Anyway, when it comes up to tell me. But anyway, this guy is a billionaire. And he spoke about the first job he ever had, working in a ice cream shop, right, making ice cream. And he says he remembers there was like a mess on the floor. And this lady looked at him and said, "Clean that up." And he just said, "Why?" He said, "Because if you don't, you're fired." And he just picked up his bag and got on his bicycle and went home. But he says in that moment, he felt so small. He felt so unwanting and just bad. Not Justin Trudeau. No. The guy who wants to become prime minister, he's a billionaire now. He felt so small. He felt so bad. And he never wanted to have that feeling again. And that's what carried him on to become the successful billionaire he is today. What's his name?
Justin Trudeau.
No.
Someone put that in there. I didn't Google it. It was.
He's the current.
Andrew. Oh, current.
He's the current. I'm talking about. There's a guy who wants to follow in Donald Trump's footsteps. He's a billionaire and he wants to become the next prime minister. The only problem is he doesn't speak French.
Oh.
Come on,
let me
Lenny.
speak French.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Colleen. You know who this is? What's his name? He's in the Shark Tank.
He says he withdrew from the race. That's what Joe just said.
Oh, did he withdrew? What's his name? Can't remember his name. Anyway, I think it's an O something. Anyway. Okay, somebody carry on talking. I'm going to find this. Hey?
I tried to Google it, but
Somebody
my
talk.
keyboard went down on me, and I forgot about it. And here I am trying to type it, and I can't get anything. But
I'm going to find his name now. Hold on.
Hold on, folks. He's going to find it just now.
Not Justin Trudeau now. Hold on.
no, it's current.
Wait for it.
Robert's going to check it out too.
What's his name? What's his name?
I think my batteries went down on my keyboard, and I can't get new ones because they're all packed up in the RV.
Hold on. Oh, Kevin O'Leary. That's his name. Kevin O'Leary. That's the guy's name. Kevin O'Leary.
Sounds Irish.
I
I like him already.
He's Mr. Sunshine, they call him that, but he's absolutely brutal, and he's just this beast in business. And he was talking about when he worked at a ice cream place, scooping ice cream, and he had to clean something up. The lady told him to clean it up, and he said, "What if I don't want to?" And she says, "Then you're fired." But he realized how much power a person had over somebody else. And he never wanted to feel that ever again. And that fueled him to start his own computer company, his own software company. And, now he's a billionaire because he that was the thing that fueled him. So everything comes down to your why. Everything comes down to your why. And what's interesting about everybody that works for Kevin right now is that he wants them to understand that they are in control of their own life. Like, he understands that everybody coming in is not going to be there forever. It's all about the principle of your why. And it's all surrounded about how he felt. He doesn't want to feel like he has power over people, even though he does, but he wants people to understand that they can actually get there, because that's what his business is all about. And, think about this, guys. Get your why in order first, so that you can understand the how and the what of it later. So with that being said, we are going to say goodbye. I think we've gone over an hour right now. I hope that you've taken this in and you've appreciated the why from a different perspective, because I know everybody does the why thing. One last time, let's go through the panel and we'll say goodbye. Pops, one last more word.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Thanks for being here, and keep an eye on your why and take care of the what. It'll all happen.
No, Jimmy.
And I just want to say that I don't mind that you went over because we're getting overtime pay, right? Like time and a half here. Is this going to add to my vacation time? Like, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, I don't give a shit. Oh, I said shit. Sorry.
Oh, you said shit.
Oh, shit. Did you get that from me?
You guys grow up.
Yeah, it's hard to grow up. But like Dave said, I don't know, remember if you mentioned this or not, but everybody's looking for their why, they're looking for their reason. Your why is deep down inside of you. You just gotta dig into yourself and find that, and it helps. One of the things that I use to help find mine is what makes you get out of bed in the morning. What drives you to get out of bed in the morning. That's one of the good things that can help you define your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? So think about that, and thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see you all next week.
Katie, are you going to say one more thing? Okay, cool. So we're going to say goodbye. Thanks everyone for being here. And yes, Bob is on the ball again. It is soft key that Kevin O'Leary started by himself. It's quite an interesting story if you go and listen to what he does. But guys, do yourself a favor and go and check out Steve Jobs' presentations. Go and check out how these guys actually present their products and how they get people inspired. It's quite astonishing. And you'll find that you'll see that your why comes before the what. You'll absolutely see that.
I would encourage everybody to read Steve Jobs' biography also. Well, the guy's neurotic. He was just way out there, but he knew exactly what he wanted, and he went for it. And he did some strange things. It's very, very good read. It's awesome.
Yeah, he did, and he even had a yelling match with Kevin as well when Kevin was in business with him. He was yelling expletives. He was swearing at him at the top of a window after a meeting at Kevin when he was down. And he said, "Sorry, should I come in on Monday?" It was hilarious. He is quite a character. But we'll say goodbye. We'll see you same time next week for part 2 of how to start your business on scratch. Don't miss it. We will see you there. You have a great evening. Cheers.